He had a blue car. He loved his blue car. It was dark blue. It had 4 doors. It was not a new car. It was an old car. But it had new tires. It had new black tires. All 4 tires were new. He felt safe with his new tires. They would not blow out. He could drive everywhere with his new tires. His car was dirty. He needed to wash it. The windows were dirty. The doors were dirty. The hood was dirty. The trunk was dirty. The bumpers were dirty. The tires weren't dirty. They were new tires. They were black and shiny. They looked good. He did not have to wash his tires, but he did have to wash his car. He put water into a bucket. He put a sponge into the bucket. He washed his car with the sponge. He dried his car with a towel. His car was shiny blue now. It looked like new. Now his old car was as shiny as his new tires. The TV reporter coughed. Then she coughed again. The other TV reporter was worried. "Are you okay?" he asked. She couldn't answer. She continued to cough. She coughed and coughed. The other reporter dialed 911. "What is the emergency?" the 911 person asked. "I think my friend is dying," said the reporter. "What is your address?" asked the 911 person. "We are at 123 West Hill Street," said the reporter. "Someone will be right there," said the 911 person. But then the woman stopped coughing. She said she was fine. She said thanks to the other reporter. He said, "You're welcome." He called 911 again. He said the emergency was over. He said his friend was okay. She would not die. She was going to live. The 911 person was glad to hear that. Dark clouds were in the sky. The sun went down. The weather got cold. The wind started to blow. Leaves blew off the trees. Paper flew through the air. People buttoned their jackets. The rain started to fall. At first, it was quiet. Then it got louder. It was a storm. The rain was very loud. The man couldn't hear his TV. He turned up the volume. Now he could hear his TV. He looked outside his door. He looked at the rain. It was pouring off his roof. It was a flood. Then he saw lightning. Then he heard thunder. It was a very cold night. The rain changed to hail. The hail was very noisy. He turned up the TV volume again. Now he could hear his TV again. He watched TV for a while. Then he looked outside again. All the cars were white. The street was white. The ground was white. The hail covered everything. The hail looked just like snow. He wanted to make a big snowman, but you can't make a snowman out of hail. You can only make a snowman out of snow. The baby bird was in his nest. He was in his nest with his sister. Their nest was high up in the tree. They were waiting for Mama Bird. Mom always brought them food. They were hungry. When would Mom come home? Would she bring them a worm? Would she bring them a fish? Would she bring them a piece of bread? What would Mom bring them? They looked at the squirrel. The squirrel looked at them. The squirrel put a nut in their nest. The birds looked at the nut. How could they eat a nut? They didn't have strong teeth. The squirrel has strong teeth. The baby birds had no teeth. They had beaks, but no teeth. They heard Mom. They knew her voice. They knew the sound of her wings. She brought them some food. It was still warm. It was delicious. It was pizza. It was pizza with cheese. Baby birds love pizza with cheese. They were so happy. How delicious. He looked at his watch. It was time for the bus. Where was the bus? He was at the bus stop. He stood up. He looked down the street. No bus. He looked up the street. No bus. Where in the world was the bus? It was time for the bus to arrive. He sat down on the bench. It was getting cold. The wind was blowing. He didn't have a jacket. He was wearing shorts. He was wearing flip-flops. His head was cold. His arms were cold. His legs were cold. His feet were cold. His toes were cold. His toes were turning blue. Where was the bus? He stood up again. He looked down the street. He saw the bus. It was coming. In a minute, he would be on the warm bus. In a minute, his nose would be warm. His hands would be warm. His whole body would be warm. How nice. The bus arrived, but it didn't stop. It kept going. It was the wrong bus. He looked at his watch again. Where was the bus? She had big brown eyes. Her sister had big blue eyes. Her brother had big green eyes. Her mother had a gray eye and a green eye. Her father had black eyes. Why are our eyes different? She asked her mom. Who knows? Said her mom. Life is strange. It is full of mystery. This is a mystery to all of us. She asked her teacher. She asked the doctor. She asked the nurse. She asked the mailman. Nobody knew why her family had different color eyes. Finally, she asked the librarian. A librarian reads a lot. A librarian works in the library. A librarian is surrounded by books. Books have information. Lots of information. The librarian looked in all her books. She called other librarians. They looked in all their books. Still, nobody knew the answer. "I'm sorry, little girl," the librarian said. "Maybe someone will invent a computer someday. Then I will give you an answer. But for now, your big brown eyes and your sister's big blue eyes are a big mystery." The chicken and the duck were friends. They lived on a farm. They walked around together. They swam in the pond together. They talked about many things. They talked about the cat. They thought the cat was tricky. They thought the cat was dangerous. The cat looked at them a lot. They didn't trust the cat. "We must always keep our eyes open when the cat is around," they both agreed. They talked about the dog. The dog was very friendly. The dog wanted to play. The dog had lots of energy. It barked a lot. It ran around a lot. They both liked the dog. They talked about the farmer. The farmer brought them food. The farmer took care of them. The farmer took care of all the animals. He fed the cow. He fed the pig. He fed the goat. He fed the sheep. He fed the rabbit. They liked the farmer. He took good care of everyone. He was a nice man. "Farmers are good," said the chicken. "We need farmers," said the duck. He wanted to wash his hands. His hands were dirty. They were dirty from the newspaper. All newspapers have black ink. The black ink got on his hands. When he rubbed his nose, he put black ink on his nose. His wife looked at him. She laughed. "Why are you laughing?" he asked. She said his nose was black. She handed him a mirror. He looked in the mirror. He said, "Yes, you're right. I have black ink on my nose. I look a little bit funny." "No, you look very funny," his wife said. She laughed again. He went into the bathroom. He turned on the water. He picked up the bar of soap. He rubbed the soap between his hands. He washed his face. He rinsed his face with water. He looked in the bathroom mirror. His nose was clean. There was no ink on his nose. He walked out of the bathroom. He wanted to show his wife his new nose. "Let's go fishing," said the father. "That's a good idea," said the mother. They put the kids into the car. They put the fishing rods into the car. They put the jar of worms into the car. They drove to the lake. The lake was huge. The name of the lake was Yellow Lake. It had yellow sand all around it. The sand looked like gold, but it wasn't gold. It was only sand. They parked the car. They got out of the car. They sat down on the sand. They put the worms on the hooks. They put the hooks into the water. They waited for the fish to bite the bait. They waited 30 minutes. Then one of the kids caught a fish. It was a trout. It was a rainbow trout. It had many colors like a rainbow, but its belly was white. They took the trout off the hook. They put the trout into a bucket of water. The trout swam around in tiny circles. It was confused. Where did the big lake go? They caught 3 more trout. Then they went home. They had delicious fried fish for dinner. Can we go fishing every day? The kids asked their parents. A robin is a pretty bird. It has a red breast. It has black wings. It sings a pretty song. A crow is pretty too. It is completely black. It is shiny black. A crow is a big bird. It is a smart bird. It is a lazy bird. It watches people. People have food. They throw food into a garbage can. The crow flies down to the garbage can. It walks around the edge of the can. It looks for something tasty. It hops into the can. It picks out a potato chip. It flies into a tree. It eats the potato chip. Then it flies back to the garbage can. The robin sees the crow. The robin is hungry. It flies down to the garbage can. The crow yells at the robin. It says, "Get out of here! This can is my can!" The robin flies back into the tree. The crow is a greedy bird. It doesn't like to share with others.